This happened to me when I moved to Bangalore for my master's degree. I stayed in an Air Force hostel as the Air Force provided accommodation for the children of its personnel. Let me describe the hostel setup. There were 4 buildings, 2 of which were horizontally adjacent to each other. Buildings layout top view. The above is a top view of the hostel buildings, with G representing the building for girls and B for boys. My room, G1, was the second to last towards the B1 building. A dot represents a large banyan tree in the middle of the compound, which covered all 4 buildings, and because most defense campuses have lush greenery, the hostel stayed cool. The girls' buildings were extra secure with barbed wire and CCTV, and nobody could enter or leave after 9 p.m. Here's an idea of my room. My bed was placed next to the door and window, with the washroom on the opposite side. The hostel buildings were 2-story buildings, and my room was on the ground floor. The floor plan consisted of a long balcony in front and rooms in a single row. RRRRRRR rooms. B balcony. Entrance to building. About H mere experience PE. Now, let me share my experience. This incident took place in July when the college session had ended, and not many people were around, and my roommate hadn't arrived yet. I was undergoing the counseling and college selection process at that time, so I didn't have any classes to attend yet, and most of my days were spent watching Netflix true crime documentaries or YouTube true crime or short horror films. A few people in the hostel had some semester-end exams left, so they were there, but mostly the hostel was empty. As usual, that day, I was binge-watching some series, and when it was around 3 a.m., I suddenly started hearing someone walking on the first-floor corridor. At first, I was quite unbothered, but the footsteps got heavier over time. Meanwhile, I heard that someone from the first-floor corridor balcony dragging a heavy metal object on the floor as well. I was annoyed at this point and went out to ask the other girl, whom I knew would sometimes walk around at night, to walk more quietly. However, I've never heard her walk around at this hour before. I went out to my corridor balcony and peeped up, but no one was there. So I came back in and thought to myself that it was probably something related to the video I was watching and rewound to check. Now, for context, I don't like much light in my room, so my room's light was off, but the washroom's light was on, casting a dim light. From the corner of my eye, I saw the silhouette of a manly figure standing there, holding some kind of metal chair in his hand. Immediately, I switched on the light in my room, and right after that, I heard the same sound of someone walking and dragging something just outside my room on my corridor balcony. I tried checking from my window, which is right above my bed, but no one was there. At this point, I thought to myself that all this was just my mind playing tricks on me because I had never given much thought to the paranormal and this couldn't be something of that sort. I do know there's negative energy and positive energy, but I had never thought about the paranormal. So, I kept my laptop aside and went to sleep, telling myself that I'd had enough crime and blood for one day. The next day, I went to my friend's room, and the girl who sometimes walked at night was there too, but it was never past 12 o'clock that she would walk in the corridor. I asked the girl if it was her who was walking at 3 in the morning, but her reply left me wondering what it could have been the night before. She told me she went to bed by 10 because she had an exam the next morning. My friend asked me what happened, and I told them that I heard someone walking and dragging some heavy metal object last night. That's when my friend told me the story of the ghost brother. Apparently, in building B1, there lived a boy whose room was the last towards the G1 building. He had a twin sister who used to live in my room, and her roommate was his girlfriend. This guy was a national-level basketball player and was absolutely fit and fine. It was routine for the sister to wake her brother up every day by calling him, but that day, he didn't respond to her rings. The whole day passed, and even his roommate didn't bother him, thinking that he needed time to recover. But when even at 8:30 p.m., the guy didn't pick up his sister's call, she asked his friends to check on him and get him out of the room. After many attempts to call him and get him to open the door, the other boys broke the door and found him no more. Unfortunately, he had been rejected by the one he loved and committed suicide. Since then, people have heard him walking around, and the girls who stayed in my room before experienced strange noises and, from the corner of their eye, saw someone standing in their room. After knowing that, I did expect to catch a glimpse of the phantom again. Dumbways_to_. I hope you enjoyed this chilling experience of mine.